I don't mind getting called an idiot for certain takes, but I do think everyone who called me one 2 years ago owes me an apology.
For which take?
I do, for fucking, you're talking about the DNA of the team.
They taught them to be this way.
And the time to blow it up was staring you in the face and you spat. Like
Montreal or Columbus?
Well, I'm talking about 2023 as a drop dead date.
What about the other pit stops when you're driving down the highway and you're like, oh, there's a place I can go to the washroom.
Yeah.
I can go to that McDonald's. I can pee there. Oh, there's an en route. I can pee there, and you just keep driving. Like which stop are you talking about, Steve?
Like,
come on.
They don't take a piss in 2021. They don't take a piss in 2022. They don't take a piss in 22. And now here they are. They've arrived at their destination, covered in piss. And you're like, bro, did you piss your pants? And they're like, whoa.
Hold on a second.
What's all this pressure?
Man,
about
the
asking
noise.
me to not piss my pants. Like, when I was your age, peeing your pants was the coolest. Fucking Billy Madison.
Just get my car detailed.
Like,
maybe don't tune out the noise so much.
Why did the media piss my pants?
Like, geez.
You should have pulled off the road years ago.
Yeah.
Why did the media
piss my pants?
It's literally the Eric Andre shoots the guy and goes, why did you do this to me?
Why did Mark Masters do this? It's because you didn't pull off the road to take a piss at least 4 years ago, you absolute pumpkin.
I still think Montreal was the time.
I
right?
agree.
And then people going, you know what? They took the defending cup champions to 7.
This you mean now?
Yes. No. Yeah. I've read that multiple. That happened in 2022. You maniac! Ah!
I want to say something else.
The store is open, by the way. Like, it's just operational.
I want to say something else. The idea that that they're going to lose by not I'm so frustrated, and I'm trying to hold it together.
Yeah. At some point we should do game 1.
Whatever. No, we'll get to it. It was actually a great game.
There's other games.
The backtracking on the Marner stuff is people preparing themselves to go nana boo boo. Look at him. He's doing well in the playoffs. He just couldn't do it in Toronto because it's the fans and the media. We're setting up for that for 12 months from now. I just hope you're all ready. I'm calling it now. When Mitch Marner goes somewhere else and finds success, which I think he will.
Yeah. And
I wish him well with that. I implore you, I ask you, I beg you to try to, is it that would you rather lose like this? Or would you rather lose trying something else? I would rather lose trying something else.
Yeah.
We really could have.
That's how I feel.
should be home right now. We should have just put together a bunch of clips from the last 3-4 years and thrown it up. Adam, we've said that for 3 or 4 years, and everyone went, no. Fuck.
I mean, you can have numbers tell you anything. It's your interpretation. And you know what's amazing to me? And we'll transition to the game with this. So the Leafs...
Hot air balloons?
So the Panthers absolutely wiped the floor with the Carolina Hurricanes last night.
Yes, it made me very sad.
And a lot of people had that reaction, Steve. And they said, well, it should be the Leafs in there kicking their ass. See? The Leafs are actually better. It's just that the Metro Division sucks and the Leafs can't get... Height. The goal is not to lose in Game 7 of the second round. The goal is to win the Cup. So... whether you're in the division you're in, you're playing the teams you're playing, if you're not beating them, you have to change.
You win or you don't. There are no marks.
I don't care what the Leafs might have done against Carolina. I don't care.
What do you think? There's a bronze medal game? Like,
this is the thing.
Guys.
People are like, but we would have kicked Carolina's ass, so maybe we're allowed. I don't want to be just better than Carolina.
They probably would have beat Winnipeg 2021.
Everybody. And the point is that they have not been willing to make the decisions necessary to be better than everybody. And you know who was? Bill Zito. Won the President's Trophy, then fired his coach and traded his arguably best player that year.
He took a player
along with one of his best defensemen for Matt Tkachuk. And what happened?
Didn't he set the single season record for points in a season by a left winger?
Assists in a season. 72 assists.
In one season. And he sent him packing with the sweetener.
With Uyghur, who's great.
Yes. one of his best defensemen, his best winger, for one guy, won the cup.
Went to the finals the first year too. This could be their third finals in a row. This is the point, guys. Like, what could happen if what will happen if we lose Jake Gardiner? What will happen if we lose Mitch Marner? What happens if you lose Jonathan Huberdeau and Mackenzie Weegar? We all sang Brad Treliving's praises for getting that kind of return. What happened? Bill Zito was willing to say, you know what? I might get fired for this, but I think we should try. They also made some really smart moves, picking up guys like Gus Forsling on waivers. They got Luosterainen for Trocheck. Carolina gave them Luosterainen. Carolina gave that to them.
Wait, he was originally a Hurricane?
Luosterainen, yeah.
Oh my God.
Dude, I'm looking at this and I'm going like, hey,
No.
here's a team.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna back that up because now I feel like now I'm insecure.
What?
Yeah, Carolina Hurricane. Played 8 games for them. I never trust my own memory. When you guys question it, I'm like, shit, I better check that. And I was right.
With the Huberdeau trade, like that playoff run, do you remember who they lost?
Who did they lose to? I don't remember.
The Lightning.
They had 122 points. They beat the Capitals in the first round. And they get to the second round, they got swept by the Lightning.
Swept.
What happened the year before?
I don't know.
The year before the President's Trophy?
The year before they lost to the Lightning in 2022.
Did they miss the playoffs?
They lost to the Lightning in 6 games in the first round.
Hey, but that's the Stanley Cup champion. They took them to 6 games, Jesse.
The Lightning.
Yes.
The Lightning.
And the Panthers didn't look at those 2 series and say, we lost to the Stanley Cup champions in that season. And the next season,
what are
we
you gonna
lost to the
do?
team that's been to 3 straight Stanley Cup champions. No, they looked at their team and they said, we need to change everything.
What the Lightning did to the Panthers, they snapped. And they had line brawls in the preseason after that shit. The Panthers changed their attitude to, I don't give a shit what color jersey you wear. When we leave this building tonight, we're both wearing red. And look where they are. By the way, let's talk about, there was a big balls move that came to mind. And it was a bit of a slow release. You're not a very good team. And you have a guy who you recently picked 5th overall and widely considered another player who is widely considered one of the toughest players in the league. Are you trading them and getting better?
No.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
Unless
Depends on your return.
Well, unless it's June 23rd, 2011, you're the LA Kings and you trade Braden Shen with Wayne Simmons and a 2nd-round pick in 2012 to Philadelphia for Mike Richards and Rob Bordson. So basically just Mike Richards.
No offense to Rob, but
I don't know who that is.
I don't know who you are.
You
Even
traded-
Steve doesn't know who he is.
You traded
I've never heard of you.
Wayne Simmons and Braden Shen for a guy who helped you win 2 cups.
Yeah.
Right? Like you need to be bold.
Concerning. Who was on the other end of the Kachuk
Treliving.
deal?
You know what? I think Treliving was in a spot where okay, here's what happened. Here's what honestly happened. Maloney stepped in and said, we're not signing Johnny Gaudreau
You're Maloney.
to that contract because he wanted what he wanted. And then at the last second, Maloney said to Treliving, okay, fine, offer him the deal. But at that point, had they given him that offer at training camp, Gaudreau would have signed it, right? And then, but after that, they had lost to the Edmonton Oilers. They got like
in an embarrassing
fashion, and Gaudreau was really pissed with Calgary management, who, by the way, are a pain in the ass. And Treliving would go on to be really pissed with Calgary management because they wouldn't even let him hire the coach he
left.
wanted. Well, exactly. And so then they finally give approval on the night of free agency. Okay, give Johnny the contract, and Johnny goes, "No thanks." And you know what Matthew Kachuk says? Well, if Johnny's gone, I am too. And I got a year left, and I'm not. He called them and said, "I'm not signing here."
Is one of the
Treliving
best-
is like, well, I'm going to have to make the best of this.
One of the best lines in hockey.
40.
Elias Lindholm, Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Kachuk. It was
One line,
automatic.
120 goals.
It's unbelievable.
Now, your Maloney story, does that sound anything like Treliving got somewhere and Brendan Shanahan told him, you got to keep
Sounds like
Mitch
Dubas.
Marner?
Sounds like Dubas. Well, I mean, yeah, if you wanted the job, you have to keep Mitch.
Does that not sound a little familiar?
Sure does.
It sounds like we're making excuses for a bad move.
Brad Treliving
You know what, man?
deserves to be president, like, of somewhere. Like, just so he gets to make these decisions now. Be free. I want to bring Brad Treliving to a big Brad Treliving park where he can hang out with other Brad Treliving. He can just frolic like Charizard. It's so unfair. It's so unfair.
Because if we're talking about original sins for him in two different spots, the one is he got to Toronto, he had to agree, like, hey, if you're going to run this team, you can't really move Mitch before his no move clause kicks in like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Then he just got there, so he's not going to do it.
I just got
And then now he can't get Rantanen for him. And then the other one is you traded Matthew Tkachuk and Jonathan Huberdeau. And if we're going to excuse those, like the excuses are they're both not his fault, but they're also his decision because he's the GM in both those cases.
Yes.
For me,
He has to wear it. I'm not saying he doesn't have to wear it. I'm just telling you what happened.
Yeah, sure.
Here, Adam. I'm gonna propose a trade.
Okay,
Okay,
you're
so
gonna cross your legs too.
so
All right.
so you got a nice car,
Okay.
and I'm gonna trade you a nice car too. What do you say?
Well, I don't know how you've kept your car.
Well,
I don't know anything
how about this?
your
How
car.
about this? You trade me a nice car, a nice newer car, and I'll give you 2 really nice but slightly older cars.
No thanks.
Oh, okay. That's not where.
Oh yes, please.
Thank you.
I want that so bad.
Thank you. Okay, now it's important that I tell you the best car out of the 2 that I have to offer you belongs to my parents. So I actually don't have the rights to trade it. What do you think of the deal?
It feels like it's not complete yet.
Yeah, it feels like it doesn't fucking matter what we have negotiated.
Yeah.
Because it's not mine to sell. That's Mitch!
Yeah.
Mitch didn't prevent the Leafs from doing anything. They had 4 entire years to prepare for his no move kicking in, and they didn't care. And I'm going to scream that from the rooftop for as long as it takes for people to understand.
Looking at how these playoffs played out, I think there's a case where you should have done the Matthew Knies for Mikko Rantanen deal.
I agree with you.
I think because you have Marner and Rantanen for this playoff run. And then you have Mikko Rantanen for 8 years because we know that came with an extension.
Yeah, he would have signed here.
That is I love Matthew Knies, I think, more than life itself. The only way that's palatable is if Rantanen agrees to the extension.
And he would have.
Yeah, so
that's already been reported.
We don't have
He
to
would've.
consider that.
Yeah.
He did it.
Yeah.
12 and a half. And Marner walks. Marner still walks in that
Sure.
scenario. But you're able to go get Besser or Bennett or whoever else is available in the free agency market. And you're probably through to the 3rd round.
Matthew Knies is great. He's not Mikko Rantanen.
No.
And I think we're at the point now. I'm going to drop my coffee. There's a good thing there's nothing in it. We're at the point now where it's about winning this season. And having a team with Marner and Rantanen and Willie and Matthews seems like a better shot at winning than their current construction, where they lost. I think Brad Treliving should have made that deal. I think he made a mistake.
I want to.
Damn.
And I think the mistakes are adding up a little outside of the decor.
I don't think that Brendan Shanahan. So here's another Knies trade that didn't happen. And this is this is constantly misreported, and I'm going to correct it for you. Okay? People don't understand this deal.
Well, who's your source on it?
So here's the deal. The Leafs were going to they had shitty goaltending. I'm not sure if you remember this, but they had shitty goaltending going into the 2022 playoffs against Tampa, right? I think it was 2022. Or maybe it was 21. It doesn't really matter. They had shitty goaltending.
It was 22.
And they had shitty goaltending. And one thing that Kyle Dubas did understand is goalies that have a track record. And he offered and made a deal with Kyle Davidson. Now, you'll remember, this is the year where Marc-Andre Fleury was punted out of Vegas for nothing and won the Vezina.
Yeah, reigning Vezina winner.
Reigning Vezina guy goes to Chicago. Marc-Andre Fleury has a no trade in his contract. The Leafs were going to send Matthew Knies, 2 first-round picks. Okay, so there's your Minton and your Cowan.
It's quite a lot.
For Marc-Andre Fleury and Brandon Hagel. And the story goes that Dubas went into Shanahan's office and Shanahan said, "Who the hell is Brandon Hagel?" That's what I've been told. Who is this? No, we're keeping Knies. Are you out of your mind? And
Hagel.
How many goals has he scored just in the last few years?
Now wait though. This deal, there was a time it looked suspect. He had 21 goals and 16 assists for 37 points in 55 games as a young player with the very not good Chicago Blackhawks. Goes to Tampa, 22 games, 4 goals, 3 assists, 7 points. Even in that 23-game playoff run, he only had 2 goals, 4 assists, 6 points. But in the 7-game series against the Leafs, he drew 8 penalties. 8. Since then, he has put up seasons of 30, 26, and 35 goals, 64, 75, and 90 points.
As much as I love Matthew Knies, if Matthew Knies reaches those heights, we'll be thrilled.
Yes.
And then so here's the other part of it, that deal that people don't understand is that Marc-Andre Fleury was not only willing to waive his no trade to come here, he was willing to extend.
Yeah, but who's your source?
And then
who's your source?
More than believe it or not that guy on this deal, not that guy on this deal. And then beyond that,
I don't believe you.
So Shanny says no chance in hell are we trading Matthew Knies. So they go back and Kyle goes to Kyle Davidson and says, I'm sorry, we're going to have to amend this deal if we want to make anything happen. And so they come to an agreement, and I think it was like a first-round pick for Marc-Andre Fleury, and Shanny still shut it down.
You're missing the most important part of the first part of the deal.
Which is what?
There's a player that was also going from Toronto to Chicago.
Was it not Knies and 2 firsts?
And there's one more guy.
Who was the guy?
Peter Mrazek.
Peter Mrazek. You're right.
He was when Dreger had
because they had to make the salary work.
Yeah, Peter Mrazek was also in the deal.
This is the Matt Murray Peter Mrazek year, where Ilya Samsonov came in and stole the net.
I'm going to be sick.
I feel like this is really the Peter Mrazek trade.
Yeah, you're right.
Marc-Andre Fleury, who Hall of Fame, get out of here. This is the Peter Mrazek trade.
I am going to actually.
And when you go back and you look at that deal, listen, I love Matthew Knies. I just called him a future captain.
Yeah.
But Brandon Hagel is like a first liner on the Canadian Olympic team.
Well, here's the thing.
What do you want me to say?
I love Matthew Knies. I'm not trading him.
No, not now. Not now.
Oh, sorry. It's for Hagel? Okay. No, hey, no, screw you. I'm not trading him. Oh, it's for Rantanen with an extension?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't like Matthew Knies is great, but the player you're getting back helps you win in that moment.
Yes.
And I'm tired of deals for the future with this team because there's been so much losing in the organization. Whenever they have these opportunities, you need to just go for it that year. I commend Colorado for at least trying. Booger McFarland fell on his face, trying real hard this year to go for it, but at least he tried. Brock Nelson's going to walk for nothing and never play in Colorado ever again.
He might walk to Toronto.
At least he tried it. You know, I commend him for doing that. The Rantanen thing, I think he bungled, but the rest of it, going for it and getting guys for future assets, like just do it each time. There's too much losing here.
Yeah.